If you wanna stay with me.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Mal's Board Game Room. Oh my god, I said the wrong title. Welcome back to the Board Game Specialist. I am Melanie.
And I'm Carla.
Jeez, do we want to redo that or are we just going with it?
Oh, let's just go with it.
Okay, sounds good.
They're kind of tied together anyway, so.
Yeah, they're very intertwined.
Yeah. Our Mel's Board Game Room, so.
And we are in my board game room. Well, I am. I guess you're in your own board game room, but yeah. Geez, it's early. It is early in the morning.
For us, yeah.
Yeah, so we're kind of like, oh, I'm awake now. Are you awake? Yeah. Do you want to do it now? I was like, I got to straighten my hair, but sure. So, yeah, so here we are. And then this week we are talking about the top 9 games that we played at Ashemble. Now, it wasn't an actual event. Like our friend Ashley, so that's why Ashemble, was celebrating her birthday, and we ended up going to her sister's cabin in Invermere and had 4 days of board gaming, and it was absolutely amazing and beautiful and tons of fun. And we just had a great time there.
Yeah, no, there's lots of fun games played, lots of good food, and
too
the
much
atmosphere. The view we had out the window was like the lake and the mountains. Like literally we were right on the lake. Like it was amazing.
Yeah, it was so cool. So beautiful spot. So yeah, no, we had an amazing time there. And we played ton. Like I know I played 42 times over the course of the 4 days. Did you tally up how much?
I'll have to count how many while we're chatting here. It was a lot because I didn't sleep a lot.
No, well, I would play till like midnight. It would be 1 o'clock before I went to bed. And then normally around 6:30 is when I would get up. And then I didn't set an alarm or anything to come make sure I was up early. I was just too excited to sleep. So that opened up for a lot of board gaming for sure. Yeah, because I ended up playing 42 times of like 26
42 as well.
Huh.
But
there we go.
Before me. That's weird. Maybe you played some more.
You were up by the time I would be up, so you would get a couple games in before me as well. So,
yeah.
What time did you get up?
I didn't sleep. I slept the first night a bit, and then I was basically. I didn't game all night though. People were sleeping. I was on my laptop.
That's funny.
Learning games.
Yeah, I slept.
Playthroughs. Trying to sleep, but I don't sleep well at conventions at all. Too
excited? Is it the excitement that's the problem, or
I don't know what it is. I just can't sleep.
That's funny. What about your own? When you're hosting your own, do you sleep then?
Yeah, not usually, because then I'm up and I'm like, what do I need to set up? What do I need to do? Yeah. It's just all conventions in general.
That's
it's hard
funny.
to wind down after a day of gaming.
True. Yeah, no, for sure. It's funny. And then like I get home and it's all over. You get home and then I want to play some more.
Yeah.
It's like it didn't like, okay, that's out of my system. It's like no, it sparked it now. I'm good to go.
Exactly.
But which was great because then I was off Monday, Lee was off Mondays, and we did end up playing some more games. So
nice.
It was good.
Yeah. Okay. We did too. Me and John.
Nice.
A couple on Monday.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Just game all the time. Okay, so we are going to get started with the presentation of our top 9 games that we ended up playing out of those 42 plays. But before we get into that, we'll talk a little bit about what we've been playing, because as we mentioned, we've played the Monday after. We've been playing since as well. So, Carla, for you, what did you play lately?
So I played the game I'm talking about. I actually played there as well, but also have played with some other friends. And this was a little Kickstarter I just received, and it's called, well, it was originally called My Favorite Things. It was like a Japanese import, I believe. But now they kind of just changed the name to My Favorite Things. And what it is it's a trick-taking game, but it's very unique because you can play up to, I believe, 6 people. And you all have a different color, color set of cards. And the cards are two cards together in a sleeve, like a clear sleeve, and you will slide the top one out, and you have 6 cards, and they're numbered 1 to 5, and then you have one of them that's a broken heart. Now, what's going to happen is the partner on your left or right, depending on what you decide, is going to give you a category. It could be a category like my favorite type of foods, like
Yeah, because I got
cuisine.
one. It was vegetables for
You
you.
got I think I gave you vegetables. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and then you would literally list from 1 to 5 your favorite kind of to your 5th favorite basically. And then on the broken heart, you're going to put something you kind of hate or don't like, right? And then you're going to slide those cards down so no one can see the numbers. And then you're going to pass it to your left or right, whatever you've decided. And then you play a trick taking game. And what you're trying to do is play the lowest card. So I'm trying to guess what your favorite vegetable is. I literally could not guess that. I think it was the last one. But it's funny because you think, oh yeah, I know my friends well. But all of us, like all the categories, we were all like, what? Really? You really like that? It was quite funny. But so then, yeah, you play the lowest card that you think is their favorite. And if you don't know what that is, but you know something they don't like, then you would maybe choose that. Because the winner of the trick is the lowest if you have a 1. But if somebody plays a broken heart, they will trump that. And, you know, after the first round, then you get to see the numbers. So I know like what I've used already, and I get to like lay them out. So I know, okay, I've already used your 1, your 3, and your 4. Now I got to figure out what your 2 is. And if not, I'll try to choose your worst possible option. And it's neat because if everybody does that, then they cancel out. And if everybody plays a 1, it's they don't cancel out. It's always the first one in the player order that would win that. So if only people played 1s, then the first player who played it would win. Or if 2 people or 3 played the broken hearts, it's the first in turnover. So you're passing this really chunky, like metal, it's big, medallion, I'm gonna say. It's not even a coin,
Right.
and you're passing that around as the first player, and you just play 5 of the 6 cards, and then that's the end of the round. And then you switch sides. So if you went to the left, you're going to go to the right this time. You're going to choose another category, play that whole round, and then that's basically the whole game. And every time you win a trick, you get this little heart. They're like nice, really chunky square hearts, and that's your score tracker. And it's really fast and quick, but it's so unique to have a trick taking game played where you have to think about, you know, what would possibly be their number 1 or 2 or whatever. And I just found it really neat. And I played with other friends as well, and we all chose the same category, and it works just as well too, because then, you know, you're trying to think, okay, well, I think I know what her, like, you know, number 2 is. We're on the second round. I'm going to play that. I have no idea what her 3 or 4 is, but I know what she hates. So I'm going to choose that for the third card that we play. And yeah, it's really cool. I really like it.
We should play this one again where everybody puts their favorite games.
Oh, yes. Yes, we should. And if everyone's listened to our podcast, they would know.
They should know.
After next week. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this was a really interesting game just because you're playing like you're playing a little bit blind because you think you know. It's like, okay, well, they must like this, right? And then because it's like that with the vegetables. Like my worst vegetable was beets. And you're like, really? It's like,
I love beets.
Well, and you know what? It was like growing up, it really bugged me that the beets would stain my potatoes, and it kind of turned me off beets forever.
Turn everything purple and pink. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really bugged me as a kid, but I'm not a big pickled fan. Like I don't like vinegar very much, so it could be that pickled beets is what I think when I see beets. So
I should have remembered that. Yeah. Right. What was your favorite again? I forget now.
I think it was Brussels sprouts.
Oh yeah,
that Brussels sprouts was my favorite.
I kept thinking that was your worst.
Oh really? That's funny.
I love them, but a lot of people don't like them. So
yeah, no, it's kind of like, okay, which vegetable am I excited to eat? Is like, oh yeah, Brussels sprouts.
Yes,
that's funny.
So delicious.
Yeah, no, it was really neat. Like just kind of mostly because we're playing with friends that were good friends, but like we don't hang out day to day, like we're board
Right.
gaming friends, so it's like we don't know some details.
Yes, that's right.
But yeah, no, this was neat. All right, well, the game that I have played lately, and I forget what I put, so let's go and have a look together. And the Masters of Maple Syrup.
Oh,
So we
yes,
actually
that's what
had
we
it
played.
at Ashemble, but we didn't end up playing it there. So me and Lee played it on the Monday, and I'm really liking it. So this was a Kickstarter that just arrived for me. It was Masters of Maple Syrup and also Downstream. And they're just tiny little card games. And then when this got announced, I was in Banff and I was feeling very patriotic. You know, it was beautiful Canadian scenery in Banff. And then I saw this and I'm like, yes, I need this very Canadian game. So we ended up getting it. First of all, artwork, it's just like you could buy cans of maple syrup and that's what they kind of look like. That color setup, like it's very thematic. And everybody starts with a tree. And what's cool about it is there's 3 action cards that's in the middle. And you're going to take turns selecting your action, and you would turn the card towards you. So it sends an action to you, and it sends a lesser action to the other player. So if I tap a tree, and you know this, if you're not Canadian, are Sugar Shacks like only in Canada?
Sugar
know?
Shacks?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
So it's only Eastern Canada. It's not even across all Canada, but you would have like this big area with all the maple trees, and they would place like a sugar shack there where they are collecting the maple syrup, and you can actually go and visit, and they would get like these big, huge table of snow, and then they boil the maple syrup and they pour it on top of snow, and you get like a little popsicle stick, and you twirl it to kind of pick it up, and then you would eat the maple syrup off the snow. And that would be visiting the sugar shack. So I've done that a few times as a kid in Eastern Canada. It was amazing. And you would get to tour around and see how they're collecting the maple syrup, right? So they tap the tree and they kind of put a little, I don't know, spigot into the tree that would kind of cause the maple syrup to leak out, and then they hook a bucket onto it, and then they would go around, and often like with trees and wagons, to kind of go around between the trees to collect all of these buckets, and they boil that down because it's just like a sugary liquid, like it's almost water, right? But they boil it down to make it into maple syrup. So in this game, you are running your own sugar shack, and you're trying to be the best sugar shack in the eastern provinces. And so the actions that you can do is you can tap, where you would tap the tree to collect a maple syrup. You can, I think it's develop would be like playing a card, or you can harvest, and that's where you're collecting the maple syrup that you've collected, right? So, but you can only collect from a tree that's been tapped. So if you do the tap action, you would take your tree and you spin it like on its side to show that it's been tapped. And then if you do the harvest action, then you put it back up. And when you harvest is also how you collect cards. And depending on the tree you have in front of you, so the sugar maple or the red maple, I think we started with, gave you 1 card, and that's how you would draw a card. And then, so it's really interesting. And then when you develop, you're either going to add more trees into your tableau, or add utilities, and utilities kind of give you special abilities of what you can do. I mean, it's like, and it's all thematic, right? So you can get a farmhand, so you got somebody that's helping you, and that gives you like a special ability that you can do at the start of your turn or during gameplay. But then each card is worth points, and your trees are worth more points if they're tapped at the end of the game, and the game ends as soon as somebody gets 10 cards in front of them. So it was just so thematic, so neat. I love the artwork. I really enjoyed the spinning of the action. Now this is the base game because you can play with the action cards on its other side, and it's a little bit interesting because then if like you can do the tap or harvest action, but then so that means that, okay, well, I'm going to tap. That means the other player is going to harvest, but maybe they don't have a tap tree yet, so they can't even harvest. So it's like more variety in what action you can. It's not like on the red side, it's like, hey, I tap 2 trees, you can tap 1. So, but everybody's doing the same action, just not at the same level.
Oh, nice.
But the other side is you do different action. It was so neat. I really, really enjoyed this one. It was nostalgic for me, like with the being from Eastern Canada and having visited Sugar Shack. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, so thematic, so very Canadian, and that is the game that I've played lately, the Masters of Maple Syrup.
Nice. Yeah, I really wanted to play that weekend, but we just had so many games that we didn't get to all the ones.
So many games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
We should have took a picture
right.
of our piles of games that we all brought.
Oh, we should. I don't think we did. Yeah, that was ridiculous, but I mean, it was good. We got to play quite a bit, but
oh yeah. Yeah, we did.
Well, let's get started talking about what we've played. So, in your number 9 position.
All right, so we played quite a few party games, and
yes,
I love party games. You love party games. I like to mix it up too, like, party games, some heavier games, some medium games. But this one is like a game that you can lead the night with, or you can end the night with, or the day, whatever you are doing. And this one is called Piles. Now, I found this one from actually Jenna on Board Game Garden. She had recommended it, and so I kind of looked it up, and it was on Amazon for, a really good price, so I ordered it. I'm like, let's give this a try. So I've tried this with several groups. We played this at Christmas. I played it with non-gamer friends, my family. We played it with gamers quite a bit at a different event, and then we brought it here. And man, this is such a fun game. What you're doing is you are literally sorting laundry.
Right.
So you have all these different types of clothing, and you'll have a set of 4 of each of them, and there's probably like 50 sets, because depending on player count, you use that many, like a certain amount of sets per player count. And so we played with 7. Yeah, because Bernie was there, right?
Right.
So we played with 7 of us. So I think that was almost all the cards. I think it might go up to 8.
It's like 43.
Yeah.
43 sets. I know, because we played 8 players on Friday.
You have played 8? Oh, okay. So what you're doing is you shuffle all the cards that you need, the sets, and then you give everyone 6 piles of 4 cards. And they have them placed separately in front of them. And then you're going to flip 4 cards in the middle, face up. And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to sort each of your piles into like a stack of 4 like things. And like things meaning like there could be toques, and they're all identically the same but different colors. They might be like overalls. There's a set of overalls where they're exactly the same, but again, they might be a different shade of colors. And the tricky thing is some of the things look similar, like there are pants, and then there are cargo pants, and then there are jeans, and there are leggings. There are shorts, and there are swim trunks, and there are like cargo shorts, short shorts, and all different things. And I know when I played it with my family, because I thought, okay, the guys aren't going to like this. Well, they totally got into this. And Chase would look at me. He's like, is this a set? I'm like, you literally have 4 different pairs of shorts there. It's like, damn. But so how you're trying to sort these is you can pick up one of your piles, look at it, and only switch from something in the middle. You can't pick up 2 of your piles and switch back and forth. So if you have something in one pile that you need to get to another pile, you need it to go to the middle first and hope that no one's going to take that. So you're like, okay, oh my gosh, I need that swimsuit, but I have 2 of them in the other one. So I need to get this to the middle, but then quickly grab the right pile that has the swimsuit in it. They're the 2 swimsuits so that I can put it back in there. And the memory part of this is hilarious because like I'll look through all piles and then I'm like, okay, wait a sec. Where was that one again? And then I'm, finally get a few piles of complete sets, and then you flip them face up, and the person who can get their 6 sets complete first wins the game. Mm-hmm. So it's a real-time game. It's chaos, and it has that Dutch Blitz feel or that Color Addict feel, but you don't have to math anything or have specific numbers. It's just all about colors and sorting and trying to get the exact set of 4 in front of you. And it's funny because at the end, I think you won a couple times that night.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I was lucky that.
And you were just sitting there all calm, and we're all like flying around grabbing cards, and it always turned out I was like 1 or 2 away, and somebody was hoarding the one thing I needed. I'm like, where was that robe? Who had the robe? And they were like, oh, I seen you grabbing all those robes, so I kept it until you gave me something. Like, I'm not paying attention to other people. I'm just trying to.
Oh, honestly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a hoot. Like it's funny when I played it at Christmas too. My son's girlfriend, she's like, "Oh, this is the game that went like viral on TikTok." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" She said, "Oh yeah, there's people posting it like all through Christmas apparently." And I'm like,
Nice.
that's hilarious, but
It's a good one for sure.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
super fun. And you can get it at like tons of different places. I believe Walmart online sells it, London Drugs
Nice.
sells it, Amazon.
It's nice that it's accessible. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's actually a mass market game, but it is so fun, and it does well with like kids. I know Bernie, one of our gamer friends, he's like, I'm going to take this to my volleyball team that he coaches and do. I said, you know what you should do is have like their cards at the, like they all have their piles like at the corners of the gym, and they have to run to the middle to like switch out their cards. 'Cause he's like, I need to make this like a workout. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I got an idea.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. A whole different spin to it for sure. The first time I played this game was just with the regular deck of 52 card. Lily had showed them to me, and you just shuffled all the cards, and then you created your piles, and then you had just to get all the same numbers in one.
Right. Same
So,
thing. Yeah, you totally
yeah.
could do it with that. That's right.
For sure. But yeah, no, but this looks so cool, and then it's
Yeah.
so it's a great looking game, and it was fun. We played it a few times.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And it plays
Nice.
fast. Like at first when
Super
you're playing
fast.
it too, you're like, this sounds easy, and then you're going, I can't get anything going. And then all of a sudden, boom, somebody's done.
Yeah, exactly. Nice pick. All right, my number 9 is a game that I had not played before Ashemble, and I'm impressed. And honestly, it's on my wish list. I want it now, and that is Parade. So it's based on Alice in Wonderland, and it was so cool because you have cards in your hand, and the goal is to score as low as possible. And people keeps adding cards to like this row. And if I add a 2 at the end of the row, then I can skip the first 2 cards. And then afterwards, anything that is below, is it equal or below? Just below. So everything that's below
the same color.
or the same color that's left in this parade, then you'd have to pick up and add in front of you. So you're trying to set yourself so you pick up as least or as possible. But then if you did pick up a lot of like, and mostly big numbers, and you want to try to have the most of that color, because then whoever has the most gets to flip them over, and they're 1 point each instead of like a 10 and a 9 and an 8 or whatever you ended up picking up. I was impressed with this one, and we played this one multiple times. Well, actually, because I think we ended up playing it, like, okay, first one to 50 triggers the end of the game. So we played till 50, but I just recorded them as each round as a separate play. And I quite like this one. This was so fun. And it's very simple. It's just like add a card, what's in, and then it would always happen is like, okay, I'll add this one. It's like, that means you would pick up these 2. Oh, hold on, let me think of it again. It's like, so it was, but yeah, so simple, such a, kind of quick game to play, simple to teach, simple to play, but so satisfying. I really enjoyed this one.
And did you mention you keep 2 cards in your hand to play at the end?
Right, I forgot.
So
There's 2 you discard and 2
Yeah.
you keep, right?
2 you keep. So you'll have hidden ones because the biggest groups are the ones you'll get to flip. But and so it kind of has that arboretum feel where you're like holding back what you have.
Yeah.
No one knows, so they think they might have the most of something, but then you have 2 of those in your hand and you get to flip.
That kept happening to Bernie. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna, what? What did you get though? It was hilarious. But yeah, it was so fun. Oh, so fun. I quite enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, my number 8 is a game called Parikrama. I hope I'm saying that right. Now, this is just a little card game. that Bernie got with a Kickstarter. And the Kickstarter, I believe, was called Indian Markets, I think, or something like
Okay.
that. But he didn't get the big game yet. They sent out the little game first. So
Oh,
this was like
fun.
an add-on, when you can add stuff on with the
Yeah.
Kickstarter, some of their previous games or whatever. And so he's like, yeah, because I said, what do you got to teach us? He's like, well, let's try this one. So pulled it out. And it's so cool. It's a card game, but plus a tile laying game. So you have all these different kind of terrains of cards, and they are all shuffled together. And then you kind of have a market in the middle. And on your turn, you can do 4 different things. You can, I'm not even going to say the right terms, but one of the things you can do is you can go and collect cards. So you
Right.
can take up to 3 cards. That's any of them that are in there, and you can put them in your hand, and that's one action. And so you can do 2 actions every turn. So if you do that one, then you can only do one other one. You can only do different actions. So I couldn't do the card collection thing twice. The other thing you can do is you can play cards into your kind of like tableau. And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to get sets or runs in your tableau laid face up. And once you get a set of at least 3, you can like use another action to basically cash it in. And what you would do is you would take the highest card out of that set or run and you would put it in a scoring pile, and the rest will go into this face down pile called your backpack. That one I remember. And so that's another option. So you're either picking up cards or placing them down. That's number 2, or cashing in a set. Or the other thing you can do is once your backpack gets up to, I believe it's 8 cards, then you can cash those in and get one of these special tiles. Also, when you do your normal cash in, you do get to collect one of the tiles that's placed under the market there. And depending how big your set or run was, you'll
Yeah.
get a better choice of cards or tiles. And so what the tiles are doing is they have little shapes on them. Some will have like, well, they will all have circles, and they'll be different colored circles, but they'll have these kind of like half circles as well. And so you're trying to connect these half circles to become circles. And then all the little tiny circles that you have on your tiles are going to give you a discount on that color of card. So kind of like a Splendor,
Yeah.
mechanism that way. Now, the special tiles that you get from cashing in your backpack cards will also be placed there. They have the same kind of thing, but they also will have like a little bonus in the middle, and they might give you like a discount on even in your backpack. Instead of having to have 8 cards, you only have to have 7. They might just give you straight end game points. They might allow you to, I can't remember a bunch of the other ones. They might give you, you can choose 4 cards instead of 3 or something, but they're all really cool. And also, if you have like a huge run, I think of 7, there's like a real special tile that is literally 14 points, which is a lot in this game. So if you can build
Yeah.
up a big run of 7, cash that in, you can grab that tile plus a basic tile. Now, there's also some cards. If you get, I believe it's a 6, 7, or 8, or maybe it's a 5, 6, 7. These cards will go into your hand, and they can be played as, and you can use a free card, because I didn't explain how the cards get played in your tableau. So if I'm playing a card in my tableau, I'm playing like there'll be these little I think they're like little feathers kind of on the top of them, and that's the cost of the card. So you have to pay cards in order to play it. So that is why you need the discount. So you're not constantly getting rid of
Right.
cards that you want to put into your tableau. It's really unique. And yeah, we played it one evening, and then the next morning I'm like, let's do this again, because I really, really liked it. It's just a really nice, easygoing, flowing game, but with cool mechanics, because usually, you either have a card or a tiling game, and they kind of put these together and they go really, really well. I don't know. I don't think you can find this game. I think it was kind of only an add-on for that. But maybe one day it'll pop up somewhere. But if it does, definitely pick that up, or at least try to play it if you can. And that's, my number 8, Parikrama.
Yeah, I played it in the morning and it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Putting the tiles together, I created, I think, only 2 circles. So that did not go well for me. And I kind of like, because you're putting it, but you're trying to give yourself the discounts. Like, oh, I'm going to put this yellow with yellow, so I get a discount on yellow. And it's like, oh, that doesn't do a circle with the other background design. I was like, oh, well, we'll see what happens. And yeah, it didn't score very well, but it was very interesting, all the different aspects. And then I was like about to get my run of 7 to be able to get that big tile that gave me a lot of numbers, and Ashley beat me to it. I was like, no. So it was neat, actually, for like, you know, little card tile game. It was a lot of fun.
I really liked it.
Yeah, great pick. All right, my number 8 is another game that I don't own that is now on my wish list. It's another little card party game, and I had a blast with it and really enjoyed it, and that is Flip 7. And this is a push your luck game, because what the numbers you have in front of you will be your score. So you're trying to get as big a score as you can, and you'd be like, okay, so you get one card. Do you want another? Yeah, give me another. Right? So it's like, I don't know, blackjack or whatever. So it's like, okay, yeah, hit me one more time, you know, and you get another one. Okay, great, then you're good. It's like, okay, another. And then like, but if you ever flip a card that you already have in front of you, you bust. That's it. You're done. So, and then there was a card there that will like force it to flip 3 in a row, and it's like, oh no, okay, please don't, please don't, please don't. But then you get one that's a second chance. It allows you to kind of discard like a similar card if that happens, just in case. So it kind of gives you extra protection. Like, it's a very simple, super simple game. It's a push your luck flip card game, and you're just trying not to get duplicates, but so satisfying. It was so neat. I loved it, and I haven't come across it yet, but it's going to be mine one day.
Yeah, I don't think it's in Canada yet. I got a friend to pick it up in the States for me, and I really wanted it before Christmas because I knew it would be a hit with my family, and they just loved it. We played it probably 20 times over Christmas because it's such a fast game too. It's first 1 to 200, and it comes fast, especially if you get that doubler. Like, there's a ×2, and if you can get, like, you know, add up to 50 ×2, you're already halfway there to the winning point.
Is this the one that if you got so many, you got like an extra?
Yeah, as soon as you 15. Flip 7, you get an extra 15 points.
Yeah, that was good.
As long as you
I don't think I ever did it.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's just, and you just get so greedy because you're like, oh, I'm at 6 cards. I'm at 42 points. I gotta go because if I go, I'm gonna get that extra 15. Oh, I busted, and it's such a good game. Yeah, they're just getting so clever with these light, easy, fun games that anyone can play and love.
Yeah, and this one was great, so I can't wait to get it.
Yeah,
but super fun. Flip 7.
Awesome. All right, my number 7 is another party game, and this one we played the last night, me, you, and Cherry. This is called Sides. I had picked this up at Bliss.
Right.
It was on sale, I believe, maybe it was the Boxing Day sale or whatever. So I picked up this. I actually got a copy for a card treat prize as well. And I had heard about this game from Michael, our friend Michael. He was telling me about it, I don't know, a couple of months ago. He was in the restaurant, and I'm like, it sounds kind of like Just One, because it's a cooperative game, but with like a twist. Yeah. And so what you do here is you have this stack of letter cards, and some of the letter cards have more than one letter. They might have 2, they might have 3, they might have 4 letters. And you line them up in 7 of them in a line. And then you have another stack of cards that have, I think, about 8 different words on each of them. And so we played a 3-player game. So we started the game, let's say it was me and you describing a word to Cherry to get her to guess. So we look at this card, and she chooses a number on the card, just like Just One. And so she said 4, and we look at the 4 and say the word. Now I can't remember some of the words that were there. But
my favorite one was the word was sponge.
So you and her were trying to get me to guess, and she's like, "Oh, I got this," and you said, "Or no, wasn't it? Was it the word was sponge?"
The word was sponge, Yeah, and then we had the letter W. I was like, Cherry, I got this one. And I was like, hey, Carla, pay attention. She's like, yeah. And I was like, worthy. And she's like, right away, sponge.
Cherry's
You
like,
have to
"What?
listen to our last
What are you
episode to
talking
understand.
about?" Yeah.
Oh
and
my
I said,
God, it
"Well,
was
listen to
hilarious.
the last episode and you'll get it." But no, it was so fun. So you have the 7 cards, and whatever word the guesser chooses, you are trying to describe that word to them using one word, but you can only use the outside letters. So either the farthest left or the farthest right.
Mm-hmm.
And you might even just say a word that'll get them kind of close to that word. Like, say if the word, what was one of the words? Deodorant was one, right?
Oh my God, right?
We had a hard time getting that one. So I can't remember what letters we had, but
I think we had like we went teenagers.
Teenagers, yeah. So we said teenagers, and then so then that letter gets slid down, and she knows that that's part of the word. And what did she guess? I can't even remember what her first guess was.
I have no idea.
Hormones?
We never did get deodorant.
I think it was hormones. And we were like,
yes,
close. Like that is, gonna get you there. And you can kind of say, like in the rules it says, you can say like you're 40% there, or you're like,
right,
halfway there kind of thing. The other thing you could do is you could say something that is the opposite of
right.
that. So like if the word was deodorant, I don't know what you could say for opposite, but then you would flip the card upside down to show them that you're kind of saying the opposite of what you're trying to get them to guess. And then, so say, I can't remember what the next one was, but she got closer. And then, so then it dwindles down and you've only got, 5 cards if she's guessed twice now. And you don't get more letter cards. So you want them to guess before those cards run out, because then the whole game would be over. But once you guess it, then those letter cards are gone. That word card is your score. So you put that in your scoring pile, and that's 1 point. And then you will refill the letter row. Starting, I think you push the cards out to the side and you fill from the middle kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you would, so me and you were describing it to her, then it would be you two trying to get me to guess, and then me and Cherry trying to get you to guess. And you just go through the whole letter stack, which is not very big, until you've literally gone through every letter, and then you count your score pile and just see how you did. But I mean, we had so much fun playing that one. Well, I did anyway.
It was
some
fun.
of the things, we were trying to guess, and like one was a vegetable. I don't even know, and we just couldn't. Oh, I was trying to get Bugs Bunny, but I'm like, if I say bugs, you can only say one word. Because we had a B. We were trying to get her to guess carrot, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, do I say bugs or do I say bunny? So I said bunny, and then we had a dill. I think we had a D first, so I said dilly.
Right,
I think
dilly,
that totally threw her
and
off.
then bunny, and I think we ended up getting it with snowman.
Oh, right. Oh no,
Yeah.
because we had fruit, and I was like flipped it for opposite of fruit. I think we had an F, so I'm like fruit, and then I flipped that, and she's like, okay, so it's not a fruit. So then she did guess vegetable, and we're like, yes, and then you got snowman, and then she got it.
Yeah.
It's just unique how you can kind of get them there, and you only have the one letter. That's it. You have to use those two. And halftime we'd have the same letter on either end. So
it's like, oh my God.
yeah. And you can burn one, but it goes away, and it literally will, decrease the length of your game and your score. So you're trying to use all the letters, but it's a really cool little cooperative game that was really fun. And that's
it was
number
cool.
7, Sides.
Good pick. All right, my number 7 is another party game that we ended up playing, because we did big heavy games, and then we peppered party games all throughout. And this one got played a few times, and it was a hit. And that is Caution Signs. So I got Caution Signs a little while ago, and I've played it with a bunch of different people. My mom and my family loved it. My kids loved it, and you guys loved it. And then we played it on Friday, and it was a big hit again. And it's just so neat. And you get 2 cards. One is like the caution top, and then the sign part, and then it's like a descriptive word, and then like a noun, and then it's like, so we had like a crawling owl in this picture here, or chunky goat, or so it's just like you get like flexible gorilla, or whatever you end up getting, and then you have 20 seconds to look at that card and quickly draw a caution sign, like 20-second. You cannot dilly-dally, because sometimes we're like, well, the main part that describe all of it didn't get drawn, so you're never going to guess. Like, good luck. But you take turn being the guesser. So one person doesn't look, everybody else draws their thing real quick. Then you put all these cards face down and you add 2 extra ones and you shuffle them. And then the guesser has to try to figure out where they go, which caution sign had what. And it's so much fun. We had, like, it's honestly, and Bernie would always do like the tiniest little drawing that you couldn't make out what they were. Like, what are you doing? And Carla got pretty creative with some of hers as well. And it'd be like, oh my God. But it was hilarious. It was so much fun. We had a blast with this.
Yes, this was fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good choice. All right, my number 6 is a dice checker game, and it's a lighter game. It's one of the all play line, and this one is called Lure. I always say this wrong. Lure. Yeah. Lure. Sounds weird. It's one of those weird words to me. Anyway, so everybody chooses a color of dice. You grab all the dice of that color, and then one of those little cardboard screens, and there's a deck of fish cards. And so you're going to flip 3 fish cards face up, and everybody's going to try to catch these fish. Now, how you do that is you're going to choose how many dice you're going to use. So each of these fish are going to have like a number on the bottom. It might say 7+, or it'll say 20+, and then it might say like all the, or 2 completely different dice. It'll have like 2 dice with like a crossed out symbol, and so all of your dice have to be different pips. So what you're trying to do is you're kind of bidding with your dice, going, I think I can catch those fish first, so I'm only going to choose 3 dice. I'm going to use my big D, I don't even know what they were, D10s
D20?
D20s.
So a D20, a D12, and D6.
And then the expansion had a D4, I think, had with
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which we played with the expansion too, which adds more cards and like another little thing on the side. But so I'm going to choose the D20 and 2 D6. So I put it in my hand, and we kind of like hold out our hands so no one can see how many dice are. And then we all at the same time like reveal how many dice we've bid. And whoever has the least amount of dice gets to go first and try to catch these fish. So if I only bid 3 and you guys all had 4 or 5, I get to roll my dice and see if I can catch these fish. So if the card said 7+, nothing else, and I had, 8 in my total pip count, I would catch that fish. If, like I said, it was 22, but they all had to be different, but I had like a 6, a 12, and another 6, I can't catch that fish. There's also these little lures that you get that you can add to your hand, and they don't count towards your dice count, but they will sometimes help you catch fish. Some of them will be like a plus or minus, so you can adjust one of the dice. They might be an actual dice pip of like 6, and that one fish literally needs an exact 6 on it, because some of them will say that. So anyway, I would go and see however many fish I can catch, and then the next players would go. If like 2 of you had 4 dice, you'd both roll at the same time. Whoever had the lower pip count would get the first crack at the fishing. And it doesn't sound like much, but this game is so fun. I'm, usually don't love bidding games. It's not my favorite mechanism. I do play them, and I always have fun, but this one is just such a cool little game that, again, you can play this with anyone. It plays well at 2. We played a full player count, I believe, which was 5 or 6. I don't remember the full player count, but man, it is so fun because you go right to the end until you've all fished every fish out of the ocean or wherever you are, and then you just add up your points. And it's just such a hoot. I just love this. And I know we played it before Christmas, and then I think 2 of you guys bought it as well. You bought one, and I think maybe
mine
Ashley
didn't come in, so it ended up getting
come in?
canceled. I have to
Oh, right.
I have to go buy it again.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you like it too, and I think Bernie has it as well, so a bunch of us have it, but it's a really cool game if you ever get a chance to play or
Yeah.
pick this one up. It's awesome. Yeah, that's my number 6, Lure.
Yeah, very worthwhile. That was a good one.
Lure.
Lure. Lure.
Kayla's laughing right now.
Probably. All right, my number 6 is probably my big, like, one of the big games we ended up playing, because we did play some big games, not
We
just
did,
party game.
yeah.
And this one is one that I had heard lots about, and there was lots of, like, some people seem to love it, some people seem to hate it, and I was like, I'm curious. Want to know what all the hoopla is about. And then I ended up playing it, and that was Arcs. And I quite enjoyed this one. It was very interesting. I'm not sure. And then I think what the complaints is there's a deck builder element to this game, but it's not a deck builder game. This is just like part of how you would draw cards and then kind of play them and kind of activate actions and stuff, but it's not a deck builder. This is an area control game, and you battle with each other as well. So that's the main part of the game. But you have ships that are on these different planets, and then on certain planets you will have like your home planet, like your base or whatever, and then you have like your, I don't know, colonies. I have no idea what anything was called. And on your turn, like, you can activate to collect from the planet, and you would collect resources, and that gives you those little tokens that you would put in front of you. And then you can spend the tokens to activate an action, or you can just kind of hold on to them to have majority in that particular department as well. But you can only collect from the planets where you have the majority influence there. So it was interesting. And then you can kind of bring in more ships, because one of the action is building, and you can build more ships, but you can only build ships where on a planet where you have like a space station or whatever, where the ships would kind of show up. And then you can move around, but the action is, so like you can move by one, or if you catapult, like if you move from where you have your spaceship token on, then you can go as far as you want until you run into another species or another clan or whatever we were supposed to be called. And then that's like you stop there. But then you can also kind of battle with each other and then try to take each other. And then you can, like, your ship goes from like okay to damaged to destroyed. And it was really neat. The components were cool. And then like there's also where you can kind of do like you would kind of select two things where you're gonna do an influence kind of check, I guess, or whoever has the majority there. And then you kind of say, okay, well, because every time you defeat ships or destroy other people's ships, it goes onto your board and you hold on to them. And one of them is like whoever has the most ships that they've destroyed would get the points that round. And then that's the thing, like you could be doing great on the board, but you only score from doing those two majority things, right? So if you're not partaking in the majority thing, you're not getting any point. Doesn't matter how much control you have on the board. You got to collect the majority points. And even though I was doing not bad on the board, I would not collect a lot of majority points. So that was happening. But it's so like the whole aspect of it, like how it all worked out, was very, very interesting. I really enjoyed this, and I'm doing a terrible job explaining it because I barely, like, I don't remember any of the terms of what it was, and then I know like it was kind of partial worker placement of what you placed, but there was like a set collection or deck building aspect to it as well. Like it was interesting all that it combined and how it used it. But I was a big fan of this one, and it was really cool, and hence why it's on my number. What are we at 6 now?
That was your number 6, yes.
My number 6. So yeah, Arcs. Did you get to play this one, Carla?
No, you guys played this before we got there. Well, we were still playing it when we arrived, so that was the first game.
Okay, yes.
Right?
Nice. Yep.
Yeah. My number 5 is, now I'm getting into some of the bigger games that we played we played a 6-player game of Obsession. Now this one
Yes.
only plays at 6 with the new expansion that I got, which is the characters expansion. And I really like that expansion because it adds to it in ways. If you've ever played Obsession, it's a tile laying kind of worker placement, but you only have one spot you're going to. You basically choose a tile from your tableau that you are going to, which is an activity that you're going to do that round. You kind of just place it up on top of your player board there, and then you're placing some of your workers that may be needed for that event. And your workers are all like Downton Abbey staff, basically. This is basically Downton Abbey, the board game, which it's such a unique theme for this like heavy of a game, but it works well. It really flows. Like the whole game is very thematic. So I might be hosting a croquet match. So I'm going to take that tile, put it up on my player board, and with that tile, I might have to use my butler or my footman for that specific tile. Then on the tile, it's going to say for gentry, possibly. Gentry can be gentlemen or ladies. It doesn't matter. It could be specific and say gentlemen. It could say ladies, and then you need specifically those type of people. So now you have this hand of cards, and you all start with a family. And your family, I think you start with 5 cards, I believe, and you'll have a mix of ladies and gentlemen. And you will play, if it says 4 gentry, you can play 4 of your gentry. So you'll place those cards down. Now, some of those people might need valets. They might need ladies' maids. They might need, what's the other one? They might need a butler. So they have a specific color of meeple on the card. It'll show like a purple lady or like a blue man, and those are like specific workers that you need. So you're going to have to place those workers on the tile then as well to know that those people were so, high maintenance that they needed these people to help them at this event.
Yeah.
And so then once you've done that, then you get to collect the rewards on all these cards. So each card has 1, 2, or possibly 3 rewards, and the rewards vary in you can either get money, you can get more reputation, which the whole game is based on reputation. You want to get your reputation up. That is the name of the game, because if you can get your reputation to max, you're going to get huge points at the end of the game. And it's really neat how the reputation works, because you have this little marker that kind of moves around a little rondelle. And once you've passed this one symbol, you get to up your reputation. We all start at 1. We're not very reputable at the beginning. And then as you go along, you build up your reputation. And the reason you want to do that is some of the guests you're going to gather, because that can also be a bonus from one of the cards, is gaining more guests. They might have a reputation value on their card of 4. Well, you can't bring them to an event until your reputation is up to that level. There is an exception. If you have a cook, you can hire a cook, and she will allow higher reputable people to come to your events, because she's such a wonderful cook that they'll just come anyway. They don't care that you have, terrible reputation, but it's just so neat. Now, you also have these objective cards. So you all start with, I believe it's 4 or 5, and those are kind of, end game goals that you're trying to achieve. You're only going to end up with 3, I believe, at the end, but you gain more throughout the game, and you will get rid of some. So now in the base game, you just gain and will get rid of, but sometimes you will have nothing that you can get, because some of these objectives are very tricky. Some of them want specific tiles, and in a 6-player game, it's really hard to get, these 3 specific tiles, because after you perform your event and gather all your rewards, you can purchase more tiles, and they are on this open market, and they kind of they get cheaper as they get slid down, but they are quite expensive. So once you buy one, they'll all slide down and become cheaper. But again, there's only, I don't even know if there's there is a few doubles of tiles, but if I need a specific tile and 2 other people need that specific tile, it's really tricky to get. The other thing you can do is pass, and then you can hire more workers. And so you can choose from like a big pile of workers to hire, and it will help you because after you have finished with them, they go into this like rest area where they have been like worked hard and they cannot help you next round. So they need to basically rest one whole round before they can help you again. So if you've used all your workers and you have nothing, the only thing you can play is some gentry from your hand that do not need help. And there's not many of those. Most of them want the help. Now, what the expansion adds is 3 different characters that will do different things. One is you can go and look through a discard pile of all the objectives, which is nice because you can see them at any time and look through them at any time. And then you can actually grab one out of there and use it if you use that character in one of the past rounds. Another thing you can do is you can go and bring what is she called? The eccentric dowager. And you can bring her to your house or whatever, and then you can choose one of these really high bonus cards that you can add to your family. There's another one where it's a constable, and he will come and kick out all your unsavory guests because some of the guests will give you a really nice bonus, like $800. There's the American, what is she called? The American heiress. And she has terrible reputation, but she gives you a lot of money. But then she's worth negative 2 or 3 points at the end of the game if she's still in your deck. Yeah. So there's a bit of a deck building aspect to it as well because you're trying to gain all these guests, but you don't want too many unsavory at the end because you're going to have a bunch of negative points. But you do want to use them throughout the rounds to gain the money or the really nice favors. So the expansion just helps you kind of weed out some of those, get choosier with your objectives and get some of those really cool cards. Also came with these big, huge, chunky coins. They are the chunkiest coins I've ever seen. They're so heavy and thick, and they were just lovely to play with. Now, saying that we played a 6-player game is quite long. I believe this game would benefit from like the flock mode from Wingspan, where if you play with 6 players, the 2 opposite people could literally do their turns at the same time. The only time you have to need a turn order is for buying the tiles and possibly hiring. But other than that, you really could do your turns at the same time. Like, it would be kind of neat, and it would shorten the game quite a bit because it did. I don't know. I think we played 3 hours. 3-hour game, and it's not typically a 3-hour game. This one, because we even played the shortened game, which is like a couple rounds shorter. But
there's a lot of visiting in between.
Yeah, we were chatting a lot. You videotaped this game, but we went off on so many random topics that you're like, no, I can't
use it. Yeah, no, it's just like I don't think we talked about the game the whole time we played the game, so I was like, I can't use this video. Yeah. So,
but it's an awesome game. I do love this, and the designer is also the publisher, and he has literally put his heart and soul into this game. Yeah, and has done such a good job. And it's basically one of those games that, it was just hearsay how it got so popular. It didn't have like a big, promo, didn't send it out to all these content creators. It just kind of got from word of mouth, and then eventually like snowballed, and it's quite big now.
Because it's so good, yeah.
Yeah, but that's my number 5, Obsession.
Very, very nice. My number 5, so we got there. Now, me, Ashley, Kayla, and Travis were the first one to get to the cabin. And we were setting up, and then Travis needed some things for the meals he was preparing. So he's like, I need to run to town and grab a few things. And then Kayla was like, oh yeah, me too. And then we're like, okay, you guys coming? Like, no, we'll stay here. And then Ashley says, oh yeah, don't go to the game store without us. And we're like, oh, there's a game store. So then we all ended up going and went to the game store first before going to the grocery store. And I ended up picking up a few games. And this is one of the games that I picked up there. And so just first, it's called Main Street Fun and Games. Great little store. There was great, like, tons of, like, it just had a lot of games to pick from. It was a good, really neat little store. So if you're in Invermere, definitely go check them out. But I ended up picking up River Valley Glassworks, and you had played it before, so we ended up playing it. Now, so I have retail copy over the Kickstarter copy, and I looked at the Kickstarter copy, and honestly, I don't feel like I'm missing out at all. You still get those glassy, it's not glass, I think they're plastic, but the
Acrylic,
little,
probably. Yeah.
yeah, the acrylic. So you get those components. The whole thing just is great. You don't get the neoprene mitt in between, and then instead of the counter on the side, you have a whole other board with the Kickstarter copy. But this is so neat. It was so interesting because you start with 3 glass beads, whatever, and then you're gonna place one of them along the river where there's matching symbols. So if I have a heart-shaped one, I can place it on the heart-shaped tile, and then I can take the tile, the beads on either side of that. So I could take those ones, and they get added to your board. And what's interesting is you're trying to get the rare ones first, because you're going to score every rows that you fill. And you're also going to score your 2 tallest columns, but the columns were worth more if further to the right than they are further to the left. But you have to score the 2 tallest ones, so you don't get to pick. And if there's a tie, you got to pick the leftmost one. Because I think if you build the column all the way up on the first row, it's 5 points. But if you build all the way up on the second row, I think it's like 39, 34 points. So there's a huge...
last row.
The last row, yeah.
Yep.
So there's a huge point difference. So you want to build there. So, but the stones aren't always distributed the same. So if you put your rarest one first, so that you get the common ones that are going to come out more often towards the end, and then it'll be easier to build that up, because you got to put 1 stone per row, like you can't, or per column, like you can't mix them up that way. So if you pick up another one from that color, it has to get added to the row. And if you ever pick up more than you can fit, then that goes into your overflow, and those are worth -3 points. The whole thing just was super simple, but kind of an interesting strategy still. And I quite enjoyed it. We played it again here Friday, and it went over quite well. It was a big hit with everybody who ended up playing it. And it's just really great. And that's River Valley Glassworks.
Yeah, it plays really fast too. Like you can get a game done in 10, 15 minutes and it still feels like crunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really neat. I like it too. Good choice. All right, my number 4 was the heaviest game I played that weekend, and probably the heaviest I've played in a long time, and that is Civolution. Now, this is Stefan Feld's newest game that he has designed and released. And this is, I would say, they call it like a cross between Castles of Burgundy and, now what was the other one? Feast for Odin, I think is how they described it. I don't feel like it's like either of those, but it definitely in weight. And I don't know what they're talking about, because it's not tile laying like Castles of Burgundy. But anyway, so what this game is you are, I think the theme behind it is you are like university students, and you are trying to kind of develop a faux civilization by a space civilization, I believe it was, or something. And you're trying to, literally develop from ground up. And so how you're doing that is you all have these huge player boards with tons of actions, and that's where it's Feast for Odin like there's so many different things you could do and choose to do. And but it's with dice. So you have a set of dice that you start with at the game, and it's 1 to 6, and you get to put 1 on each of those sections. Now what you're going to do is you're going to choose 2 dice that add up to something, and that will be the action you do, your turn. So all these different actions on your board, I might need a 4 and a 2 for this one. So I'm going to use my 4 and 2, and I'm going to go do this action. There's so many different actions. I'm not going to describe them all, but some of the things you can do is you can go and collect resources from the board, and that would be wherever you had like a little resource counter on the actual main board there. you would have had to have presence there at some point to put that there, but then you can gather those resources. And now on the left side of your player board is where you're going to track all your resources. So you'll be putting these little wooden tokens on there to show how many you have of those things. The other thing you can do is produce. So if you have villagers out there, wherever they are, you can produce those type of resources. You can go and explore, and you can move around to different lands and explore things. And if you're the first to get there, I believe you get like a resource from that. You can play these cards that are in your hand. That's another thing. I can't remember what the action is called for that, but when played, you have to pay resources, and then they will tuck on the top of your board, kind of like Lagrange, how you will tuck cards. And they kind of get tucked in like rows. And so like there's a level 1 row, level 2, level 3. And once you complete a whole row, you'll get a bonus. And you still want to try to get them built up. But once you have one color tucked, you can only have that same color or wild above that card. So you have to kind of get, that planned out, how you want to place things. There's also these tiles that you can get. And I'm trying to think how they're from some kind of bonus thing that you do, that you can choose a tile and that will go in the card spot. And once you get 2 tiles, that takes up the place of a card kind of thing. There's so many different actions you can do, and you could, it's a real sandboxy game. You can go and, choose this way towards victory. Another person can go a completely opposite way, but it's just an open-ended, I don't know if it really feels like a Civ game to me. When I compare Civ games, it's always to like Through the Ages or Dawn of a Civilization, which they feel very different to this type of game. But this is a very interesting game, and I definitely want to play it again. It's a longer game. I don't know that I'd ever want to play this at 4 people. I feel like it could be a 4 or 5 hour game at 4 people. 2 or 3, I think, will be the perfect play for this, but it is really interesting and so not Feld-like. It just does not feel like him at all. It almost feels more like a Martin Wallace, like even Lacerda game. Maybe not Lacerda, but just a very, very interesting game. Because I said feast for own like, don't let that scare you away, Mal.
I was like, oh no, I'm out.
It's just the options of actions that you get to do there. And and it's neat because then you have to feed your people, which is not a typical Feld thing. So at the end of the round, you have to make sure you have enough food to feed your people. And if not, I don't know if any of us didn't do it, you will start laying down some of your villagers and then they are weakened. Or you might actually have to kill them off, or possibly you can pay some money or something. But it's just a really, really cool game. Definitely want to play this one again and give it a try. But that's Civolution, my number 4.
Nice. This is one that I do want to try. So
yeah, I think you
interesting.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4, and I had a list in front of me and I moved it, so I don't know what it is, and let's go have a look. The Lord of the Ring Duel. Me and Travis played this one. I think while you guys, I can't remember if you were playing Civilization at that point. I think it was. Oh,
yes, I think we were.
So we ended up playing this one. Basically, this is a reskin of Seven Wonders Duel, and they did an amazing job with it. So the card plays very much the same way. The goals are very much the same. You're trying to, get the most points or get the science, but it's not called science, but they're green tiles anyways. So get the victory that way, or you can win by military victory as well. But with the military, it's a little bit different. You're not getting just kind of military points. It's a map control. So when you get the military cards, you get to move your people on the map. You can place towers. You can, kind of try to destroy the other players. And that's what I was concentrating on. And I got close a couple of times, but Travis ended up winning with like the science victory or whatever that magic victory in this version. But I was really impressed with this game. It plays like if you know how to play, Seven Wonders Duel, you're pretty much good to go with this one. You just kind of add the map portion to it, and otherwise the game is very, very similar. But nice. I I really, really enjoyed it. The one thing that was a little bit different as well is to win the game the traditional way is if you're the Hobbit, then you want to reach Mordor or wherever you're heading. So you want to get to the end of the track. I'm not a big Lord of the Ring
No, me neither.
follower either. So, and then, but if you're playing as the bad guys, then you win if you catch the Hobbit. So you have like the one track that goes down the main track, and then you have the second one that goes across that particular track, and you're kind of trying to. It was really, really cool. I really enjoyed this one. So worth it. I had heard great things, and I know why. Like, it was really good. So if you enjoy Seven Wonders Duel, you're gonna love this one. And I think in my mind, it's worth having both.
So you'll pick this one up at some point?
If I see it, definitely I would pick it up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to try this one too.
Hmm.
All right, my number 3 was another game we played the last night, just the 3 of us. All the others were playing like a big campaign game. I think it was Iridia they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
So you, me, and Cherry must have got about 8 games played in that matter of time, like between 6 and 8 games. And one of the games we played was Mobile Markets. Now, This is the card version game of Smartphone Inc., which I used to own that one. A friend of mine was looking for it, and so I'm like, oh, I'll sell you that. It'll stay in our family, or like board game family. Because I didn't hate the game. I was just kind of trying to get more shelf space, and so I sold that one. And then this one, I had heard quite a bit about from a few, I should say, content creators. It's not big on like tons of people's lists, but a few of them have raved about this one, and they said they really, really liked this. They almost liked it better than Smartphone Inc. So a guy was selling it in Edmonton for, I think, $20, $15 or $20.
Nice.
I think it's a $40-ish, $50-ish game. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to give that one a try. And so he actually drove down to Red Deer. He had to do some work here, which worked out perfect. That never usually happens. And I met him and picked it up, and I tried it solo first because I was trying to get my shelf played before the end of the year, so that was quite a while ago. And so then I brought it there. I'm like, this one, because I knew Cherry would love this game. She loves economic games, and she loves Smartphone Inc.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew you liked it too, so I'm like, hey, or I don't know who chose this one that night, but we pulled it out, set it up, and you do need quite a lot of space for this one, because even though it's a card game, everything is cards. Like there's some tiles there for to describe all the actions, but then you're putting tons of cards above it and below it. And you're doing the same thing. You are just creating smartphones with different technology, and you're going to have some helpers that will, make things cheaper or more expensive or give you some extra cash. I did have a power card that I got in the game, which I think literally helped me win the game. It gave me an extra $1 for every phone that I sold if I sold it at $4 or less. And so I kept selling these cheap phones. And then I would get to go first. So how it works is you have the same kind of like tiles that you do in Smartphone Inc., where you're just going to place them together, and you have to cover, I believe, at least 2 spaces on those tiles. And so you can kind of flip them around and, turn them every which way, and then you'll place them. And however you place them, whatever actions are showing is what you kind of get. So I might have some boxes in there, and that will be the goods that I get. Plus whatever I've covered up will also be the goods that I'm going to try to produce. You might have some technology symbols on there. And so when I go to like purchase some technology, that will be kind of the amount of money I have to spend for that. The orange one, I'm blanking what that was called. Do you remember? It's called...
The market? I want to say...
the market cards? No, I forget what they were
Because
called.
with the orange ones, you could get buyers, or you could... The network, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Something like that. But
yeah.
So there were different symbols as well, and you would get to go purchase some of those cards. And if you chose not to, then you could choose some private customers, which is neat because they go into a secret pile of your own. And then once you've created your phone, so meaning if I wanted to add any of my tech cards to my phone to make it, more juicier so that I can attract more customers. Also costs me more money though, which will decrease the value or the profit I can get from my phones. Then we go into the round where we sell to our customers, and the lowest priced cell phone owner or producer gets to go first. So I was always the cheap. I was always
Yes.
out cheaping you guys on the phone. So I always got to go first and grab whoever I can serve my phones to. And there's 3 different types of customers. You kind of go from one side to the other and you collect all those. And then I would put them in a pile. And then the next person, which was usually Cherry, you usually had some expensive phones that you would sell, but then you made big money off them. And so then you would do that. You would always have to sell to your private first. So if you had a pile of cards, the secret ones, you had to sell to them first. If you could, sometimes they had technology you did not have, so you couldn't sell to them yet. But then you would take those cards, and once everybody sold all they can, then you look at the end of the round, and whoever sold the most would get like 8 points, I believe, and then second most would get 4, and then you'd also get money for each of your product that you sold. And so money is points, and it's just a point tracker for all that. And then you start a new round, you pull up an event card, and you just rinse and repeat. It was really neat. I do feel like I had a card that was maybe a little bit too powerful because, again, if I got it quite early, and every round I sold cheap phones, so I was getting an extra $1 for each phone. But there might have been some other ones we hadn't seen that could have done, similar things. I don't know. I didn't use all my technology because I could just sell to all the cheapies. So I never really added costs to my cell phones, but there's just, different ways you can go about things in this. And I found it neat. The one thing I didn't love about smartphone was the area control part of it on the map.
Yeah.
I found it very hard sometimes to be able to sell phones because it had to, now I'm forgetting how it worked, but it had to do with what area you were selling to. And sometimes they didn't have enough. So that was the only area you could. Whereas here, there's no area, there's no board. So I think I do like this one better. I will definitely be keeping this one, but yeah, that's my number, where are we? Number 3, mobile markets.
Yeah. Number 3. My number 3 is also mobile markets.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And I did like it. I liked the Smartphone Inc. I did like that one. Definitely. I found, because with this one, like you were going with a cheap phone, and you would take the customers first. So a lot of time at the end, I didn't have enough customers left behind. So every time I had to make sure that I spent my orange points towards acquiring customers. Right. So now, because the way the customers work, they have a price point they're willing to pay. So you have some customers that be like, I'll pay $2, or I'll pay whatever price you have if you have these technologies. Mm-hmm. So I was always going for the technologies to be able to set my price. So I would always set my phone at $6, $7, $8. You had yours at $4. Cherry was always in the middle. I almost did catch up to you.
Yes,
I had come
round,
across.
I thought you were gonna get me. I'm like, oh, I think you might have done it.
Yeah, but it was close.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah, but it was just I was just getting to the point where I didn't always get to sell all of my phones because the customers were gone by the time I got to sell what I had available. So it was like, hey, I had 9 phones, I only got to sell 7, and I was making $3 a phone or whatever it was. And, yeah, exactly. So such a neat, clever game. The action selection with the tiles and which cover up and what's showing, I really like that. And I like it with Smartphone Inc. And I have come across people that is the reason they hate this game. So, because it is very abstract, right? Like I don't get this. What do you mean?
Yeah. It was all the things on this tile. Well, you can't have them. Choose a
but it is so, like, to me, like, that makes the game. Like, that's so unique to this game and the mobile market and then Smartphone Inc. And I think, to me, like, that's the best thing about this game. So, but I'm a fan of both, and I did enjoy this one. So yeah, this one, if I come across, definitely I would like to pick it up.
Nice. Yeah, I'm sure you'll find it out there. It's not talked about a whole lot, so there's got to be some on the used market for sure. Well, my number 2 is another crossover, and this one was my ultimate favorite party game we played that weekend, and that was Caution Signs. Oh man, I even posted, if you go into our Discord, I drew a lovely crawling nun. There it is.
And that's the one I have on our picture here.
I am the
Zoom
worst
in if you
artist
can. This
ever.
is worth it.
Me and Bernie.
Oh my god! And if you're
tied for
listening
worst
to this on the
artists.
podcast, this is oh my god, this is my favorite one of ever. So we're like, okay, I don't know, it's a crocodile, but there's no crocodile. Maybe it's a dinosaur, but there's no dinosaur. And it wasn't any of those. It's a nun. I'm like, what?
So the first thing I drew was her habit. Is that what it's called? The thing that goes down
Over her
back
head,
there,
yeah.
on her head. And then I'm like, how can I? I'll do her mouth, and all of a sudden it's like, I knew there was not much time, so I'm drawing her legs and her hands, and
so she's got 4 legs and 2 hands. Like,
if you're listening to this, at least go on Discord and have a look at my crawling nun. But
my
the
god!
funny thing is, I think I won one of the games.
Yes, I know.
And I don't know how. I think I could guess well, but I think people kind of threw the thing that probably made the least sense onto my cards. So then I got points for them. Because how the points work is if somebody guesses mine, both of my adjective and whatever it is, noun, then I get 3 points. Is that how that works?
Yeah. And
but
the
if they only
gets
guess
2.
one, I don't get
Then
anything.
you only get 1. No, if they only guess 1, then the drawer gets 1 point. They get 0.
Oh, okay. You get 0. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of times they're like, "Okay, it's probably not these 2 things, but I'm going to put those there."
Yeah.
Because I think whoever was guessing at that point did guess that. It was a crawling.
Yeah, I think they did, but like, what? Is it another one? Because it wasn't a crocodile and it wasn't a dinosaur.
Well, and your drawings are like, she's like, she's actually a practicing artist right now. She does all these like doodles and actual, like you were doing like an art project a day basically. So your drawings are just like unreal. You and Ashley both like can get the shape of an animal. Like all my animals were pretty much the same. Whether it was a crocodile, a bear, a mouse, they were pretty much looked the same. But
That's funny.
yeah, you guys could get the exact shape of everything. So, but it's funny.
But you got 20 seconds, so there's no time for
fast, yeah. And
so
you
fast.
can't even look. You have 20 seconds to even look at the card and draw, not just draw.
Yeah.
Because like
We played this.
I would look, and you're like, no, you can't look. I'm like, this is not giving me, a head start, really. Like. Trust me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 20 seconds is not much, but it makes it a funnier game because
it does.
If you're drawing, like sometimes I would work too much on the body, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I need to draw the head, and the head didn't even look like a head anymore. And so then, which was probably the most important part of the drawing, but
yeah, it's funny.
Funny. We had fun every time we played this game. I loved it. Yeah,
we played this on Friday. And 20 seconds, she looked at her card, she drew it, and it looked amazing. It was a great looking moose. But when the cards got flipped over, she's like, oh no, it was mouse.
That happened to Ashley a couple of times.
Yeah.
Did she read it wrong? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That can and will happen. Yeah. My sister did one. Instead of wrinkly, she read weekly. But yeah.
Some of them are hard. Like, what were some of the adjectives? Like,
like flexible,
classy moose.
Like you'd have dynamic. How do you draw something that's dynamic?
Dynamic.
Yeah, but it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
fun
then
times.
Bernie's drawings, he would do one drawing for the adjective and one drawing for the noun. So you had to like if it was like wrinkly, he'd draw some wrinkles, and then whatever the noun was, he'd draw that separate. So we'd finally figured that out from him. But
yeah,
between
That
his
was
drawing
funny.
and mine. It was crazy.
It was fun though, but yeah. Good pick. All right, my number 2 is Obsession. So you already talked about it. It was funny because we were driving. Me and Travis were driving down to Invermere, and he's like, "Hey, so what's the game you most looking forward to play?" And I was like, "I want to play Obsession. I'm excited to play this one. Now I own it. I have played it before. I was just excited to play it again." And he's like, "Oh, tell me about it." And I'm telling him about it, and he's like, "Wow, that sounds horrible." He was not sold on what's Downtown Abbey the board game. You got to have the proper staff for the lady or gentleman that you are bringing to these particular events. And he's like, I'm looking forward to playing. It's don't get me wrong, but I don't know about this theme. And then he's playing it and he's like getting a little frustrated because a lot of times I can't do anything. I don't have the proper staff. And it's like, so he's getting frustrated. But he ended up being in second place. So he did really good. But yeah, it was just like theme wise, it was not winning him over. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna want to play this for sure," but that doesn't sound very good. Very good.
Yeah, it's probably looked over a lot from theme alone, but it is a great
For some people,
game.
honestly, for me, the theme is what won me over. Right? Like, are you a Jane Austen fan or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. But great game. It was great fun. I think I won.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think, yeah.
I think I won, and then Travis was in second place, and I didn't. But it was funny because the whole time we're playing, I didn't think I was winning. Travis thought he was dead last. So like, and I like that with the game. It's not as pleasant to play a game that you're losing.
Yeah, exactly. So you have no idea in this one how far. One thing I failed to mention was there's like a courtship phase every like 4 rounds, I believe. And so what you're trying to do is there's a color of tile that's going to come up that you're trying to have the majority in. And if you end up with that majority, you get to win one of the Fairchilds. So it's like either the male or female you get to choose for your deck until the next courtship. And it's a really strong character. Now, you can play 2 different ways where you flip that card and from the beginning what to work for. So we might flip the sporting one, which is green, and then okay, for 4 rounds, everyone's trying to get those green. Well, you can also play it blindly, which we did. So we had no idea which card that was until the actual courtship round. We flipped it, and then it was like, surprise, ooh, who has the most pink? And I think it was... Did you get the Fairchild a couple of times?
I think once, maybe twice.
Yeah. Somebody got it like 3 times, and I'm like, how lucky did you get? Because I didn't get them.
Is it Ashley or Cherry? Seems to me like they were getting
Cherry. Because me and Cherry
Ashley.
usually do great at this game. We did terrible. We just could not get the tiles we needed. We could not get sometimes you just can't get the stuff you need. But we still had fun. We both really like it. And I was trying to get the accents going because I cannot start the accent. I need to mimic someone's. So I'm like, come on, somebody get going here. But usually
it came and went.
Yeah.
Great game.
Awesome. All right, number 1s. Now my number 1 is a game that I've played several times, but Ashley got the expansion to this game, which is not in English, is not available here. I don't even think it's available in the States. And that is Anno 1800. Now, I don't even know how to say the name of the expansion because it's in German. So I don't know what it's called, but it added quite a bit to the game. So normally in the game, you are building up your civilization, kind of. I'm not sure what they would actually call it, but by your industry, basically, by building all these different types of things that you can use for yourself, but you can also trade with others for. You're building shipyards and different ships so you can export things, so you can get export tokens, but also trade ships that you can get trade tokens to trade with other people when you need their things that they have built. And by doing that, I mean, you're trying to build up a tile, but I don't have shirts, but Mel's built shirts already, so I can trade with her, meaning I'm using up one of my trade tiles and she's actually getting a gold from the bank because I've done that. So there's a lot of positive player interaction in this, which I love in games. Martin Wallace tends to do that. In 2 of his games that I know of anyway. He does that in brass as well. But I really like that because sometimes games can get really cutthroat and then, it's just all about that. Whereas when you add some positive player interaction into a game, then you kind of change the vibe a bit. And we always have so much fun in this game because we're like, okay, who's got sausage over there? I need that sausage. Who's got champagne? I need some of that. Who's going to build this? Because we all really need this. I had made a promise to build something and like trying to work towards it. I needed this to get that, to get that. Oh, I need this. Now I have to wait for that. I never did fulfill that promise. So there was some people not too happy, but it was that way for everyone. Like I needed you to build this. I needed you over there to build that so I could. And the reason you're trying to do that is you have these cards. For every worker that you have or hire, you gain another card. The game will not end until somebody has played and completed all their cards. So you think, oh, that's simple. But some of the cards you're playing are giving you more workers, which are giving you more cards. So it's kind of like, it can be a never ending battle at sometimes because you're just gaining more and you're like, I'm trying to get rid of these cards. But it's just, everybody's just, having a great time and, trading with everyone, doing their own thing. And it's a game also that you will not know who the winner is until the end. You could not pick that out. There's no way. You might have a look and see, their stack of cards, but you're all pretty much, almost around the same point. It's just kind of who ends first gets a bonus of 7 points. And then there are some end game objectives that you're trying to accomplish, but everybody can accomplish them. There's some that are like whoever has the most kind of thing, but some are just however many of these you built, so you could all build as many as you possibly can. Now what the expansion adds is these, they're almost like floating submarines that you can add instead of some of the ships. And
okay.
You will replace one whole line of the ships, and these are more powerful things that will give you more trade tokens and more export tokens, which is very helpful in the game because you think, I don't really need all those ships. You really do, because you need those tokens in order to discover new lands. You need the exploration tokens to get some of the rare goods that people cannot trade with you, and so the only way you can get them is to discover these. It's like a rare goods tile. I'm not even sure what it's called in the game, but so these other like really juiced up flying submarines, I forget what they were called, but they actually add quite a bit because they could go on to your player board and then give you so many more tokens. And it just there was some more. There was also these little wheels that you're trying to collect, and those will allow you to kind of get more actions, which sometimes in the game you just need a couple extra actions to be able to like get rid of your cards quicker. You might have 4 cards in your hand. Well, in one turn, if I combo things, I can get rid of 2 or 3 of them, and then I'm close to ending the game. There is some scoring tiles that will give you negative points for all the cards left in your hand. So that's a real race when you have that objective in there, because it can really change up the game where you're just trying to get rid of your cards basically and not, build up all your points. It's such a great game. This one, I believe surpassed my other, I have to look now, Martin Wallace game, which was London. Believe it surpassed it though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did, but no, this is a great game. Have you played this one yet, Mel?
Not yet. I want to.
No,
I love Martin Wallace. There's some Martin Wallace game that I just absolutely adore.
Yeah.
So this is on my, you know what? This is on my wish list, even though I haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to just go and buy this one eventually.
This game. Yeah. Yeah, I just
Nice.
looked. It was, London was 2 above this one now. London used to be my favorite Martin Wallace, but this one has passed it. We just get it to the table so much, and everybody loves it. So it's not a hard one to go when you're like, oh, what do we play? I don't know. And you kind of look, and everyone's like, yes, this one.
This one, nice.
So yeah, that's my number one, Anno 1800 with the German expansion, whatever it's called.
Wonderful. My number one is a game that I bought at Malcon the last time I did Malcon in Didsbury. So was that like 2023, 2020? No, it was like 2022, maybe 2021. I don't know. It was years ago. I've owned this game for like at least 3 years now and had not played it. And then before we were going, I was like, okay. And then Kayla's like, I want to bring this game. She's like, oh my God, I want to play it. I was like, perfect. I was like, I don't know who else will play. I was like, I bet Travis will. So I texted Travis. I was like, we're hoping to play this one. I was like, count me in. And we finally got to play it. And it's finally off my shelf of shame after years and years. And that is Too Many Bones. And I spent the whole week watching tutorial videos prepping to learn this game. And it was so good. So this one is really interesting. Like, you play as a character and you get your specialty dice just for you. You have this neoprene mat that has cutout to put the dice in. This is the first time I've seen a neoprene mat with cutouts.
Yeah.
And the components are amazing. So you have your character. My health was over there at 7, so I would have 7 poker chips underneath my character poker chip to show my health.
Competitive or cooperative?
It's cooperative, and you have different kind of baddies, they call like different bad guys you would go against. And this is like an adventure game, right? So you have your card, and the first 3 cards always the same every game. Like, you're about to go into battle, you're too excited to sleep. Do you do more training, or do you go and buy some items? And you can find items, or you can develop skills, right, as you play. And then you'll kind of, because you flip an encounter card every time. But then as you play, sometimes be like, oh, this happens. Like, okay, so what do you do? It's like, well, we do this. Okay, add this encounter cards, and you shuffle your deck. So at some point, you may or may not come across an encounter that had to do with the choice you did, or how the battle evolved, or what happened, right? And you have some loot. You'll get some items that can help you. Sometimes you get a locked loot, so you have to pick the lock before you can flip the loot over. You know that's going to be big, good loot, but you got to do the lock picking in between your turns until you get it unlocked. And then it'll be like, so some will be like, you gotta, and then every time you flip the cards, like, okay, do you want to try to sneak through the bridge and just tuck your ears so they don't realize you have pointy ears? Or are we dealing with these fancy merchant that might cause issues down the road? And, so you got to decide, what are you going to do? And like, so you always kind of have a choice. And sometimes you'll go into battle and say, okay, so this many baddies come out. And then you the goal is to get kind of enough. They're little gear tokens. I can't remember what they're called, but like enough kind of experience I get to go after the big bad guy at the end. And then you battle the bad guy, and if you win, then you win the game. Or if you don't win, then you don't win. But it was so interesting. And then like your dice, you're rolling your dice for battles, you're rolling your dice for shields, and then you have these specialty dice depending on your character. Some can heal. You could maybe like inflict the bad guys with poison or different things like that. It was good. We had a blast with this one. I got home and I played it again with Lee, and I had a blast again with Lee, and I'm impressed. I am impressed with this game. And I had heard only good things. It was just, I was daunted about learning it, and really in the end it wasn't that bad to learn. The thing is, each character have their own set of skills, and it's daunting because every character gets a big sheet, double-sided, of like player aids, but it's just like, here's a dice, here's all the 6 side of this dice, here's what each item could potentially do. So it's just for reference. It's not, and some characters are easier to play than others, but it was good. It was good. It's off my shelf of shame. I'm glad I bought this game because I spent a lot of money on it. This was like a big buy, and I was like, oh, do I do it? Do I not do it? And then I opened it, and I'm like, look at all these dice, and everything's in trays, and I was like, I'm doing it, but I just had not played it. So finally got to play it, and it is just as amazing as I thought it would be, and I loved it. So that's my number one, Too Many Bones.
Yeah, it looked really cool. You guys were playing this while we were playing Civolution, I believe.
That's right.
Now,
yeah.
do you prefer a 2-player count or 3-player count to that one? For that one?
You know what? It didn't really make much difference to me. Because When you go into battle, depending on the number of players, determines how many baddies get into battle as well. So it mitigates the number of players. So it didn't feel that different. I played the same scenario both times. With the first one, we won with an asterisk. We might have tweaked the dice a little bit to make sure we won at the end. With Lee, we actually did win, right? Yeah, but for real. For real. But like, it wasn't. Neither game was like an easy win. Like, you're like, oh my god, are we gonna make it? Like, so I just really, really like that about it. And I don't know if I pointed it out, but if you're watching the video of this, the picture of our background is actually where we played. This is a picture of the cabin, and then we had this big, huge table. You could do 2 full-size game on this table.
Yeah, it was huge. It's bigger than it looks in the picture there, because it was huge. We had 2 game mats on that table, like 2 big game mats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a beautiful location.
It's a huge table. It was perfect. But yeah. So that's the top games we played over the weekend. It was an amazing time. Definitely. And I love board game weekends, but I think I like this private one. Like, it was just nicer to kind of just have our gaming friends. Like, it was good.
Yeah, very chill.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, and we got to play so much. So that was great. But so next, on the next episode, we're going to finish our top 100. So we're going to be doing from our number 10 to number 1. But before that, where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at boardgamespecialist, all one word. And on Facebook, I have a page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. What about you?
So first, make sure to join our Discord so you can see our great artwork with caution sign on there, and then actually lots of pictures. And it's been neat, like, because friends of ours play games at lunchtime at work, and they always post a picture of what they played. Oh my god, it's like, it's so unfair.
2 listeners, I believe, too, of our podcast.
Yeah,
always posting more like, we want to come work there.
Right?
They don't live near us, but
no, but that would be that alone. It's like, I wish. So that's great, but definitely go check out the Discord. I am on Instagram at Mel's_boardgame_room. I also have a YouTube channel called Mel's Board Game Room, and my Facebook page also, Mel's Board Game Room.
Awesome.
So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you at the next one.
Bye for now.